heard a pop and I heard a scream and I'm like, what the hell is that? So everybody had blood on them. Like,
birthday to you. Go ahead, it's your birthday.
hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're joining me for the first time, I'm Athena, and today's video I'm going to be talking about my birth story. I'm going to give you a little backstory about me for persons who don't know. So I'm a medical doctor in Jamaica, but I'm currently unemployed because I took a year off to expand my family and just to get a break from everything, and also to work on my business. I have 2 kids. I have a daughter, she's 3, and I just had my baby the other day. He is like 6 weeks now, and I'm married. If you'll see on the channel from time to time, but at this moment he's actually keeping the baby while I get to do my video. So I'm going to be talking about my birth story. This was kind of different than my first, and I experienced a lot of things in this birthing process than I did with the others. Now, I've had a previous cesarean section in 2020, and then in 2022 I had a myomectomy. So because of my myomectomy, I had a scheduled cesarean section for 2024 to have this baby. So my C-section was actually planned, and we went up to 39 weeks. Leading up to the cesarean section date, I was very excited. I was excited to meet my baby. I was just wanting to get it over with so I could meet the person who has been inside of me kicking me up. Pregnancy really kicked my ass this time. I had a lot of nausea. I was extremely tired, and I had problem with my hemorrhoids. I couldn't eat much. It was like I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink much. I had a lot of GI issues with this baby. I didn't have that with my daughter, so it was kind of different for me. Anyways, I got through all of that, so I was excited to just get this pregnancy out of the way. I can start back my life, can be able to drink what I want, eat what I want. So I was really excited about that. But during my pregnancy, I went to a private OBGYN. On the day before my delivery, I went to the hospital that I was going to be delivered so I could be registered. I brought all my documents, my ultrasound, my blood test results, everything. I brought them. No, sit there. I brought them with me to the hospital. Once I got to the hospital, I was registered, my blood was drawn, and the doctor was basically consenting me for the surgery. I'm not going to tell a lie, until that consent process, I was really excited, but then when he consented me and he was telling me about all the complications, I knew the complications, but then when he said them to me, it was like really scary. So when he told me about the complications, I got really nervous, and also the fact that I was at high risk for complications. Anyways guys, I have a special guest with me. Before I continue, this is my daughter. She refuses to leave the room. She wants to be a YouTube star, so she says that she has to be in the video and she's not going anywhere. So yes, that's my daughter. After he told me that, I got really nervous, and another thing that I was really nervous about was the spinal, because I've had 2 spinals before, but in the second one I had back pain after. But I was really nervous because I know the complications, and I'm like, what if I actually have one of the complications? So I was really nervous, but you know, on the morning of the surgery, my surgery was at around 10 o'clock. They came, I showered, I put on the gown. I opted to not have the catheter put in at that time. I actually asked, that's a PP bag, I actually asked for it to be put in when I was on the table, like when I was in the operating room after my spinal. That way I'll be numb so I wouldn't feel it. That's what I opted for, which they said was okay, right? I'd shaved before because I don't know, I'm a kind of girl that I'm just uncomfortable with people shaving me. I don't know how I'd feel about somebody shaving me, so I did my business from my house. I got rid of all of the hair and I was good to go. So no shaving, so it was just for me to put on the gown and to get the baby stuff organized for the delivery. We went down to the delivery room, guys. I was nervous. Now, all along going into this, I wasn't planning to tie my tubes. Reason being is that tying your tubes is just so final, and I didn't want to know that it was impossible for me to get pregnant. I know if I got pregnant again, it would be dangerous, but I just didn't want that final, like, you can't have any more kids. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to tie my tubes. Anyways, I'm in the operating theater. It was time to do the spinal, and I'm telling you, I was nervous about this part. I was really nervous about this part. When the spinal went in, I don't know how many persons have ever had a spinal, but you get this bad feeling after. My pressure fell. I was feeling nauseous. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I was just so uncomfortable. And I just said to the doctor, I'm like, tie my tubes. I'm not doing this again. Tie my tubes. And he was like, Doc, once Anis touch you, we can't tie your tubes anymore. You'd have to consent before. And I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I consent before? Like, I cannot see myself going through what I went through again. Like, it was just crazy. I was like, why didn't I tie my tubes? I have 2 kids. I have a girl and a boy. I have a husband. I'm 30 something years old. Why didn't I tie my tubes? But anyways, it was too late. I didn't get my tubes tied. But yeah, it was just very crazy. I was there, and then they allowed my husband to come in. Once he came in, I felt a little better. We started talking about the Airbnb because we had one person checking out that day. So we had to organize cleaning and everything. And so we had one person checking out, and then the next day somebody was booked to come. So we had to organize cleaning and everything. So we started talking about that. It calmed me a little, and I was feeling a little better. In terms of what was going on in my belly, like the cutting and everything, I never felt anything. Everything was okay. And then I heard a pop, and I heard a scream, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And then, you know, like, they started talking, and apparently a vessel nicked because I was very vascular. I heard that before though. I'm very vascular in my lower uterine segment, especially in pregnancy. You know, you get a lot of vessels, and one of them got nicked and spurred a lot of blood out. So everybody had blood on them. Like, everybody had blood on them. So after that, no, they controlled the bleeding, and then they cut the uterus, take out my baby. Once the baby came out, he never cried immediately, but then I heard him start crying, and I was just happy. I was just excited. I was just, thank you God, like, thank you God, this is you, thank you. And then they warm up the baby, and they carry the baby to me, and you know, we're taking pictures. Onif and I were taking pictures, and then they took the baby out of the operating room. He was breathing a little fast, which is not uncommon in C-section babies. And at that point, Onif had to leave as well. So he went with the baby, and whatever. They gave me something to make me drowsy, so I started sleeping, and I wasn't awake until I went to the recovery room. Once I went to the recovery room, Onif was telling me that the baby was breathing fast, so they put the baby on oxygen. It's not something new to me because I've worked in pediatrics before. I wasn't feeling upset or anything about that. It was just normal. I was there, and because then the doctors came to inform me that I had postpartum hemorrhage. I lost 1.5 liters of blood, and that's considered, for a cesarean section, that's considered a postpartum hemorrhage. It was expected because of all of my prior surgeries, so it wasn't too outside the box, but it was still, you know, a little scary. I couldn't go back to the room that I was in. I had to actually stay on the labor ward because they needed to monitor me. So they needed to repeat like my blood count and such to see if it was falling significantly. While I was at the labor ward, I was in a lot of pain. I was uncomfortable. I had the baby, but I couldn't really move to touch the baby. So the baby was in like a cot, and the patient care assistant would feed the baby. At this point, I got a little concerned because he was just vomiting every time he would eat. He would spit it up. And I informed the nurse, and they called the pediatrician. Once she came, she lavaged the baby, and then the baby was okay. So I was kind of glad for that. I knew the process, so it wasn't so scary for me because I knew what they were going to do, and I knew what the outcome was going to be. And the poor little intern that came to me, she was there, Mommy, you must hold up the baby for 30 minutes after the baby feed. And I'm like, we don't want to have to admit the baby. I understand why she was saying it to me, but in my mind, I'm like, I guess she doesn't know that I'm a doctor. I know all of these things. Like, yeah, girl, I don't want my baby to be admitted either. I am going to hold him up. You best believe. Anyways, I couldn't hold him up, so I told my husband was supposed to go home for the baby because this was like 8-9 o'clock, so he was supposed to go home for my daughter, but I told him to come back so that he could hold up the baby because I can't hold up the baby, and I know that the PCAs, they don't have the time nor the nurses to hold up a baby for 30 minutes. So I asked him to come back so he could hold up the baby, you know, because nurse admission, no, it was a no for me. So he came back, he fed the baby. hold up the baby, and the baby was okay. After that, they moved me back to my room, which was upstairs. We were a lot warmer. Everything was okay. I got a little bit of sleep here and there, but the baby was waking up and I was in a lot of pain. I was in due my petidine again, and it was just like I was in a lot of pain. For my first cesarean section, I wasn't in that much pain, but I feel like it's because I did the myomectomy. And yeah, basically they came, they repeated my blood count. The next day it was really rough because I was again in a lot of pain, and the pain meds were working, but they weren't as strong as I'd want them to be. So I was still feeling pain here and there. My breast milk wasn't coming in, so of course I was sad about that. I was kind of like stressed out about that. I had to be formula feeding the baby. I would still put him on my breast, but he'll be on my breast for like an hour, and then he's still crying. Like it was just horrible. But then the next day we got to go home. I was in a lot of pain, but I just covered that pain in a smile. And when the doctor said, "You think you can go home today?" I'm like, "Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Send me home today, girl. I want to go see my daughter, and I want to be at home with my baby." So anyways, I went home. All in all, I was praying for my recovery. I was hoping that I didn't have any complications, which I didn't, and I thank God for that. Everything went smoothly, and I was just really happy. At this point, I'm just trying to protect the baby because, as you can see, my daughter has a cold, and she's been getting cold since he come home. And I'm just hoping that he doesn't get anything from her because he's so young. I don't want him getting it. So that's all I'm praying for right now, that he stays healthy. She even gave it to me the other day, but I wore my mask around him and I never give it to him. Thank God for that. He went to his 6-week checkup. He's okay, so I'm happy. Anyways, guys, that's it for my video. If you like this video, remember to like, share, drop a comment, and subscribe and turn on your bell notification if you want to see more of me. Until next time, peace out.